to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Lisa and I love to do videos on luxury fashion, handbags, shoes. I like to do some styling videos, and I do those things from the perspective of somebody who is in the middle of her life, as well as someone who is mid-size. So if you're interested in that kind of content, I would love it if you would click the subscribe button down below and the notification bell so you know when I upload videos, which is normally about 2 times a week. Sometimes I throw in some bonus videos as well, but that way you'll know each time I upload. So as you can see, or maybe you can't, I think you can, I am sitting on the floor of our new condo in New York, and we are still, unfortunately, waiting for the movers to come. So we have no chairs. I don't have my normal ring light set up to film. So I'm literally sitting under a floor lamp on the floor with you guys propped up on sort of a makeshift nightstand. But you know what, guys, we're doing the best we can. And as you can hear, I'm a little under the weather, but I wanted to get this video filmed for you guys so you have something to watch on Monday. So today I thought I would talk about some things that I am not going to buy in 2023. The idea is from Cassie Thorpe. I will link her video down below, of course, but I think she does this on an annual basis of what she's not going to buy in that, current year. So this would be luxury or things that I'm not going to be buying in 2023. So that's kind of the gist, and let's see what I'm not going to buy this year. So to start things off, before we start getting into the list, I will say that I am hoping to have more of a low buy year in general. Those are always best laid plans, and sometimes that doesn't work. And I'm still in the process of kind of working on my 2023 goals and things like that. So I will share those with you once I get those kind of finalized and down on paper. But I say this because I guess I want you to know that in my hopes is that in general, I will spend less this year than I spent last year. Obviously, being in New York City, there's a lot more temptation to buy things here. Before living in Kansas City, I always had to rely on sales associates who were far away from me. And, that way I wasn't really exposed to brand new launches and things like that. And some things, when it comes, for example, to Chanel, I couldn't even get because, for example, you have to be in person if you want to buy a classic flap. Now, I don't care because I don't want to buy a classic flap, but it does apply to the minis, and I do really like minis, and I couldn't buy a mini unless I was there in person to pick it up. Well, obviously now I live in a city that has many, many opportunities to buy a Chanel mini bag. So, there are going to be a lot more temptations. And so I'm trying to be mindful of that with what I'm spending this year. So the first thing that I really want to not buy any more of in 2023 are SLGs. Now, I think a lot of us in the luxury community fall into that trap, right? Of you see something, especially I think with Chanel, all of those seasons, they come out with the most beautiful colors and they just grab you, or at least if you're somebody who likes color, which I do, especially inside my handbag. There's nothing more than I love to see than a bright pop of color or a beautiful color in my neutral colored handbag. And so it's so tempting to buy. It's oh, you love, I did. I loved that green that came out for 22A. But, I didn't want to spend $6,000, $7,000 on a bag in green. But hey, I can get the flap card holder for $550. So it's a win-win, right? Look at how much money I saved. But, I get a piece and I get something in that color, and it scratches that itch for a little bit of making a purchase. But I've been very mindful, I do have to say, over the last few months, because there have been some card holders from Chanel that I've seen that I wanted to buy. And I was like, no, Lisa, you need to just set that money aside and put that towards a bag, because I have enough SLGs. I mean, probably not as many as a lot of creators do. And so you know, yes, I rotate them. I don't certainly rotate them as frequently as I rotate my handbags. My handbags, I try to rotate almost on a daily basis. My SLGs are more like maybe once a month kind of thing, but they're so tempting because of the price point. It's just, it's really easy to get sucked into that. Oh, well, it's only $400. It's only $700, whatever, which is clearly ridiculous to say it's only $400 or $700. I realize that, but I'm in a very privileged place to be able to say that. But it just, I would rather put that money aside and let it accrue and, you know, continue to grow in order to get a handbag instead. So number 1 on the list are SLGs. All right, number 3 on the list are fragrances. So I've mentioned in a few other videos that I have a very large fragrance collection, both spring, summer, and fall, winter. I probably, and I will do a fragrance collection. Maybe when my fall, winter ones come, I'll do like 2 parts. So I'll do a fall, winter fragrance collection video, and then, you know, when I get my spring, summer ones, I'll do a separate video. But some of you have asked for that. So I probably have between 20 and 25 fragrances for each of those seasonal divisions. And I don't need any more. It again is one of those things that really can be a very easy thing to add to cart. It's, you know, oh, it's $150. Oh, it's $300. I think the most I've spent on a bottle of perfume is probably around the $400 range. But again, it, you know, in comparison to a handbag that's, like I said, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, a $200, $300, $400 bottle of perfume seems like, again, an easy add to cart. But I love my fragrance collection. I don't feel like I need to add anything to my fragrance collection. Now, again, being in a city where I will be exposed to many, many more brands of perfume, a lot of more niche brands of perfume, I will be tempted, I will be honest, because, you know, clearly what kept me from buying some fragrances, especially at that kind of price point, right? To blind buy a $300 bottle of perfume is kind of risky. So I can see where I will be tempted, you know, just being able to walk into Saks, for example, and, you know, try out the Byredo fragrances, for example, that I've never had a chance to try, or the Dior fragrances that are like Gris Dior and, oh, I can't think of them, but they're sort of along the lines of like Louis Vuitton's fragrances, like that kind of price point, and they're definitely more niche fragrances. I will have access to all of those. So yeah, I just, it may be tough. Now I will say the one exception to this is I have been dying to smell the Loewe, I think it's like 001, I think is the name. I don't think it's a name, it's like a number fragrance, and nobody obviously in Kansas City carries that fragrance. And again, it was, you know, I mean, it's not hugely expensive. I think it's maybe around like the $100, $150 price range, but I didn't want to buy it on a blind buy. So if I find myself in the Loewe boutique, which I'm sure I will, hopefully sometime soon, I will definitely try that. So that one, if I like it, I have to like it, may be one that I allow myself to buy this year. But other than that, I would really like to stay away from buying more fragrances. Number 3 on the list are designer sneakers. Now, I own several pair of designer sneakers already. I think I'm actually down to 3. I've gotten rid of a couple of pair over like the last year, 2 years or so. So I think I'm pretty comfortable with where I am. You know, they're all in neutrals. I can wear them with anything. And so I just don't need any more. But again, they are so tempting to buy. 1, because they're comfortable. 2, because again, they're not the price of a handbag. So if you have that urge to buy a luxury item, a $800, $1,000, $1,200 pair of shoes, tennis shoes, sounds like a bargain. Again, I realize what I'm saying is ridiculous and in no way, shape, or form is a bargain by any means. But again, in comparison to a handbag, it seems like a bargain. So You know, I love my designer sneaker collection that I have right now. I think it serves every purpose it needs to, and I don't need to buy any more of those. The next thing that I would like to not buy in 2023, or at least the first probably half of 2023, is designer ready to wear, luxury ready to wear. Now, I'm not a big luxury ready to wear purchaser, but I actually would like to start buying more, but I would like to get a little healthier and, you know, I struggle with how to talk about this on the internet. I don't like to talk about weight or physical appearance. I certainly don't do it at all in front of my kids. And that's why I guess I hesitate to kind of talk about it on the internet. You never know who is watching, and I don't like to feel like I am influencing anybody or making anybody feel potentially body shamed or anything like that. But I think, as I've mentioned in a previous video, this is not generally the weight at which I've, spent the last 15 years or so of my life, and I'm not comfortable in my skin right now, and I would like to be more comfortable in my skin. So it's tough, I'm not gonna lie. Being post-menopause, it is really, really hard. Anything I used to do prior to going through menopause, I mean, I could, easily lose 10 pounds in a month, and now I would be lucky to lose 3. And it's discouraging. So I might talk about that more in my goals video if I end up doing that. But like I said, I'm not comfortable buying ready to wear right now, but I just would like to save that money. Maybe I'll sort of, as I see things that interest me, I'll kind of sort of earmark that and, think, oh, okay, well, that's $800 that I would have spent, so I'll put that aside. And then when the time comes and I do feel comfortable purchasing things, then I will have that money to use. So we'll see, but designer ready to wear is something that we're going to not add to any carts, at least in the beginning of 2023. And the last one is, I know, maybe gonna sound sort of, well, first of all, it's not luxury, although some people might consider it a luxury, but it might sound ridiculous to some people. But I would like to maybe not cut out completely, but I would like to not go to Starbucks as much as I do when I'm in New York. So it was pretty easy for me not to go to Starbucks in Kansas City, because that required me to get in my car and drive somewhere. And I know I'm saying that like, oh my gosh, it's like such an ordeal. I know it's hashtag first world problems. I get it. But here it's so easy, especially because you're just walking around, right? You're walking to wherever you're going, and it's like, oh, there's a Starbucks. I'll just stop in and get a latte or whatever. And so in sort of combination with the reasons that I said as to why I'm not going to buy ready to wear, it's sort of a double thing here, right? One is because, especially here, it is definitely more expensive. I think when I used to get like my double shot of espresso, like when I'm in Denver, for example, and I go get a double shot of espresso to mix with my protein, I think it's like $2.50, maybe like $3. Here it's like $5.50. It's like a whole, at least $2 more for that. And it's literally just 2 shots of espresso. So, I mean, then if you're getting like that oat milk shaken espresso that I like in a grande, let's say, I mean, you're talking probably at least $8. So not only is it maybe not something I want to consume for health reasons, but also monetary reasons, it adds up. It really does. I mean, I could easily spend $50 a week at Starbucks probably without blinking an eye. So again, and I know people sort of there's sort of an argument, not an argument, but people talk about, you know, when people give advice on like how to save money and where to cut back, and people say, oh, you know, stop going to Starbucks and stop, you know, make your own coffee and whatever. And then there are some people who are like, really, do you really think that's going to make any difference? Like, that's not going to make any dramatic difference in, you know, whatever. But everything does add up. So, you know, $50 a week, that's $1,300 a year. I mean, that's a quarter of a Chanel handbag. It's a, you know, a third of a Fendi baguette. I mean, you know, it does add up. And if you have a couple of other of those things that you don't spend on, now you have a whole baguette, or now you have a whole, you know, Chanel mini rectangular, whatever the case is. So again, sort of for multiple reasons, I would like to significantly cut down on the Starbucks that I seem to consume when I'm in a city like this, where it is basically on every corner and very easily accessible. And since I love my protein coffee, it shouldn't be an issue. It was really never an issue in Kansas City. I mean, if I had Starbucks maybe twice a month, like that was probably excessive. Like it was probably more like once a month, that if I was out and be like, oh, it might be kind of fun to get a Starbucks. But here, I could easily do it every day, just because, like I said, you're out walking around. So yep, that's the 5th one that I'm going to be, like I said, maybe not giving up completely. Like I will allow myself on occasion, but I think I would like to stay in the Kansas City sort of 1 to 2 times a month versus 4 to 5 times a week when I live here. So that's it, my friends. Those are the 5 things that I intend either not to buy or to be very cognizant of what I am buying in 2023. Like I said, hoping to be a little bit of a low buy year, but like I said, we'll see what happens. There are definitely some handbags on my radar, as you saw on my wish list video. So we'll see if any of those come to fruition. But yeah, that's it. What are you looking to maybe reduce buying or not buy at all in 2023? Is there anything out there that you're like, you know what, I have enough of those. Like I need to stop buying those. Put it down in the comments below and let's have a discussion of what you all, if you have anything that you are intending on not buying in 2023. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed and you'd like to, would love it if you would take a second and click the button down below and the notification bell. And if you haven't seen my wish list video yet, I will pop it up on the screen over here. Make sure to check that video out after you're done here. And thanks so much for watching. I hope wherever you are having an amazing day or evening, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.